Yes, I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
Hello, I'm the Angry Spork, taking issue with 2002's ThunderCats miniseries. So far, we've seen our heroes fight someone that could be defeated with a flashlight, anthropomorphic stooges that couldn't win participation trophies, and irate carnies from outer space. But now their most hated foe has targeted one of their own. The cover sees an enormous Mumm-Ra in his swole form, holding both of the twins in one glowing hand. He's just discovered Pokemon, and he wants to see if they'll fit into some old snow globes he doesn't care about anymore. There's an alternate cover with Cheetaro, the twins, and the Thunder Tank charging ahead with their teammates behind them ethereally, and Mumm-Ra even further behind. I dig it, something to have a balance between the show's designs and something leaning towards realistic. Seriously, Panthro looks like he's modeled after a real-life person. With Ed McGuinness back on art with Jason Martin, Tony Avina, and Carrie Strachan, the Wiley twins are racing through a jungle, getting more competitive with Kit taunting her sibling as the little brother, which turns out to be a rage switch. Passing through an opening in an enormous tree... Man, woodpeckers on this planet do not mess around! Kit throws up a smoke bomb to further throw her bro off, but notices he's not following her anymore. She looks up and sees Cat being carried off by Mammut, obeying his Dark Master's fetch order. Batman is reading this and wondering if he can somehow teach Ace the Bat Hound to grow wings. Minor detail. It looks like a section of his wing here isn't colored in correctly. No biggie, it just makes it look like there's a portion of his wing missing and he shouldn't be able to fly very well. Back at the ThunderCats base, the signal beacon has finally been completed, with the honor of powering it up going to Lion-O. Cheetara tells him that it's understandable to be a little scared for such a momentous occasion, calling their brethren back home, but she and Panthro assure the Lord of the ThunderCats that he's more than proven himself worthy. They say all this despite the fact that Lion-O hasn't made any indication of being intimidated by this. He hasn't said anything or even looked bothered at all. Either there's a panel or two of context missing, or Cheetara and Panthro like launching preemptive strikes against low self-esteem. Their leader presses a button, activating the beacon and beginning the waiting game.
No, the waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Wilykat flies in, panicking about her brother's abduction, and Lion-O calms her down, saying they'll save Cat. He mentions the Code of Thundera and how they'll risk their lives to save the boy. That's nice, but it also wasn't really on her mind. Loyalty, honor, justice, all are great, but there's no indication she doubted that you'd go after him. If anything, she was just rushing to get it done as quickly as possible because, you know, her brother's abducted. I suppose you could argue he's saying this to get her to focus, which may calm her down easier, but it comes off as adding more melodrama. Anyway, this is certainly a trap, but for abducting one of their own, Lion-O's all too prepared to bring the fight to Mumm-Ra again. Though this time the others are coming along. At the Onyx Pyramid, which seems contractually obligated to have lightning striking, the decrepit sorcerer taunts his caged hostage, before saying he has no intention of harming the boy so long as his leader forks over his legendary sword, then taunts him again for wanting to be let go. But they don't have to wait long before the three ThunderCats arrive. This kind of made me more confused about the location of Thundera 2.0 in relation to Third Earth. But thinking back to the end of issue 1, I figure that Mumm-Ra just set up shop on Thundera at some point during the last few episodes or last season of the cartoon. But again, not helpful to someone without encyclopedic knowledge of the show. Mummy Boy demands the sword, but Lion-O counters with releasing his young charge to be spared himself.
I just want my kids back.
See that boy? He always has to make it difficult. He wants to fight me more than he wants to free you.
And that bit of dialogue right there just assured Mumm-Ra gets a job as a pundit on a news network. He's already more likable than Tucker Carlson. He hulks out into his ever-living form, Lion-O does the battle cry, and tells his two teammates to leave this fight to him as the enemies clash on a 2-page spread. Meanwhile, Cheetara leaps her way atop Wilykat's cage, opening the hatch at the top to free him. At the same time, per his lord's plan, Panthro lugs Mumm-Ra's sarcophagus, the source of his power, and dumps it into the well of, I'm assuming, evil Kool-Aid. Lion-O then slashes at his enemy's weapon, apparently breaking it, and warning he's next. Mumm-Ra then disappears, but he's not gone for good. But now they know how to stop him when he returns.
How about Chuck Norris with a BB gun?
Panthro figures it was too easy. The villain was aware of Lion-O's knowledge of his sarcophagus, but left it unprotected, which is brushed off as Mumsy underestimating their abilities and teamwork. After they depart, lightning strikes the pool as Mumm-Ra returns, and the coffin is magically lifted up.
You're the arrogant one, Lion-O. You always underestimate me, and you never change your strategy.
Truly, I am rubber, and you, Lord of the ThunderCats, are but glue.
He monologues to himself that it wasn't about the sword, but using the T-Cats as a conduit to channel their ancestors' spirits and the planet's life force, sealing the grim fate of Thundera. The coffin opens, now with a ThunderCat emblem that wasn't there before, maybe hidden by magic or something, I don't know. And inside is Lion-O's next opponent, Groon the Destroyer. Sending a bunch of minions after him didn't work, so now Mumm-Ra is sending a ThunderCat minion after him. This plan can only succeed. This issue's flow was a lot better than the previous ones. No changes in scenery too sudden and no lost context, save for Lion-O's alleged trepidation about summoning his people back home. Sure, the battle wasn't long, but it can be excused as being all part of the overall ruse. However, if the cats genuinely think that they destroy the source of Mumm-Ra's power, why did Lion-O say they'll stop him again, as if this is something they'd have to do again? Maybe they thought the disappearing act was just that, their foe realizing he's in greater danger of destruction and escaping. But they spoke with assurance that they did the one thing they needed to do to ensure he'd be gone for good. It just felt a tad perplexing. Next week, we see how Lion-O fares battling one of his own, as we wrap up this journey on one of many avenues down the road of nostalgia. I'm the Angry Spork, and man have I got issues.